Welcome back to the Morning Show here on the Raj News. Still with us from our Abuja studios is Buba Galadima, spokesperson for Atiku Campaign organization. Many thanks for staying with us, Alhaji. Now, there has been a heightened security situation in some states in the northeast and Zamfara in the northwest. If this persists, also this is a situation that worries INEC a lot. If this persists, will your candidate be open to an extension for the elections there?
Well, we would want one single-second extension for these elections. It has to take place, and all we want is that elections in those areas must be transparent, especially in Borno, where all the 27 local governments of Borno State have now converged into Maiduguri. So they have to tell us the modalities of how they are going to conduct elections in those states, so that some people do not go to government house and write results and announce. We would not accept that. The election in Borno, which is going to be done in Maiduguri town alone, must be transparent, and every political party must have an access. But this worries us for a simple reason. And that's why, just take this example. The Minister of Defense, Brigadier Dang Ali, retired, is from Zamfara State. The National Security Advisor, General Munguno, and the Chief of Army Staff, General Buratai, all come from Borno State. You had, and all this, the president comes from Katsina State. I just read in a newspaper before coming to this studio that the governor of Katsina State was crying that Katsina is under siege. With all these elements and personalities from Zamfara, Katsina, and Borno, yet the security situation is so bad. So how can you trust the welfare of the Nigerian nation in the hands of people who cannot even secure their immediate constituencies, their immediate communities, and their states with the security of life and properties of other Nigerians that are outside their domain?
Alhaji, we must actually, at this point, we must actually ask you that what does your principal have in store for Nigerians to actually restore peace to Nigeria, and what plans does he have to actually improve security in Nigeria?
Well, as you know, the first thing that my principal is likely to do is that we will have to really rejiggle the security apparatus of government, because all the leadership of the security organizations, including the military and paramilitary, have run out of ideas. And you cannot fight modern-day insurgency with the crude method of barrel of the gun. You may have to use diplomacy, you may have to use intelligence, and you have to use technology in fighting security situation across Nigeria. And above all this insurgency and security situation that we find in Nigeria are due to 2 or 3 factors. One of them, proliferation and access to narcotics and drugs that our youth take. That is what is bringing security situation and instability across our country. The second issue is the issue of creation of jobs. People have nothing to do. As far as this government is concerned, they don't want to see any rich man, they don't want to see anybody wearing new shirt or even a shoe, because they want to make every Nigerian poor, so only them, their family, and their relations would be the people standing. Atiku is going to fight to make sure that he eradicates poverty and creates wealth. These ones are fighting to create poverty. It is unacceptable. This is the main issue where security situation is always flourishing all over Nigeria. People who have no job, young men and women who have gone to school, cannot find the jobs, cannot be taught to catch fish. Then they have to help themselves by doing many of the things that we see around us. Unless we urgently and quickly do something, let me assure you that somebody wearing a shirt like I'm doing, clean one, find it very difficult to walk on the streets of Nigeria.
You've highlighted the fact that poverty and insecurity go hand in hand, yet your principal, Atiku Abubakar's manifesto does not highlight a social welfare program. You have described those who share money in the markets as armed robbers. Why this characterization of a scheme which ostensibly is supposed to alleviate poverty with some immediate relief for those most badly affected? And what is the Atiku roadmap out of poverty?
This was sharing money in the market, as Lawrence Anine had done in Benin before. I thought you were born that time. Does not defeat poverty. What you should do is to teach people how to catch fish, not to give them fish to eat. And Atiku intends to put machineries in place as he has done for himself. Being a successful businessman, he will teach people how to catch fish. He will teach people how to look after themselves and create opportunities for people to actualize their potentials. It's not like these ones that they can share money and power, school feeding, money in the market or whatever that they do. This is unacceptable. It will never defeat poverty. It will only create dependence on the state. And the state cannot afford or doesn't have that kind of money to sustain 200 million Nigerians that are out of job and children over 20 million that are out of school.
Sir, I am Tundu, and this is Adeswa. I'm Tundu, this is Adeswa, who I believe has a question for you.
Yes, indeed. Tundu. Alhaji, your principal was once the vice president of Nigeria, part of People's Democratic Party that ruled the nation for 16 years. The party has now, in turn, come to apologize to Nigerians for maladministration, for misusing funds, and, a whole lot more. But you seem confident that Atiku Abubakar will bring the PDP back to power come 2019. You have said on several occasions that come May 29, 2019, Atiku Abubakar will be the president of Nigeria. One wonders, what is giving you so much confidence? What are the pointers you're seeing? Because this is the same PDP that was in power for 16 years and was voted out. In history, it has become the first ruling party to be voted out.
Yes, first let me start by saying that apologizing to Nigerians, as was done by Prince Uche Secondus, was a great thing that has ever happened to Nigeria. And accepting defeat by President Jonathan in 2015 as an incumbent president is something that needs us to elogize and, in fact, hold him in high esteem and regard. And it's only the people in the PDP that would be able to do that. We want to look forward as to whether when General Buhari is eventually defeated on February 16th, he will accept defeat, or he will deploy the military to keep him in power by all means against the wishes of other Nigerians. Having said this, let me come back to your question. Atiku Abubakar was the vice president of Nigeria for 8 years, and PDP has ruled for 16 years. And PDP was called all sorts, PDP people were called all sorts of names. Correct. Correct. I want to agree with you. But I want to ask you, all those people that you thought were in the PDP and have destroyed the country, in which party are they now? Which party? They are all members of the APC. That is a big sanctuary for every rogue, for every thief, for every criminal, for every murderer that during the PDP era has committed this sin against the Nigerians. They have all migrated, as I said, to the APC. Now, those that were left with whom we are having a memorandum of understanding in the PDP are pure and clean people who have nothing to fear, and they cannot run from PDP to any place because no APC government can investigate them, try them, and put them on trial and jail them. This is why what we have is a rebranded, refurbished, and reconstructed PDP, which attracted people like us, clean people, honest people, people of high integrity, to have an alliance or to have a memorandum of understanding with the PDP so that all these rogues whose grandmother never dies, they will always be in power. They will have always, when we form government, we will stop them from migrating back to the PDP, and we will teach them the lessons of good governance for Nigerians. Therefore, when Atiku was in power with General Olusegun Obasanjo, you knew what Nigeria was. In fact, I should ask you people who are now asking me, would any of you vote for the continuation of the destruction of Nigeria as symbolized by the government of APC? Which of you will vote for them? Tell me.
Alhaji, let me ask you, I know we had asked you earlier about the shirt you're wearing and clarification, but would you consider being a full member of the People's Democratic Party should Atiku Abubakar win, or would you remain a member of the reformed APC?
No, no, not to, when the APC loses election, all of them will run away, trying to come back to the PDP. I will now move back to the APC, pick the pieces, and keep the government of PDP on their toes for the sake of Nigeria, so that they do not relapse like APC is doing and shortchange again the people of Nigeria. That is my divine duty given to me by God, to make sure that we educate Nigerians every time we will make any sacrifice, all deprivations, we wouldn't mind, as far as Nigeria would be a better place.
Alhaji, that's quite commendable from you. I must actually say, very, very commendable for you. We need more people like you to put pressure on the government of the day, be it APC or PDP. Now, coming to PDP and how they will win the 2019 elections. Talk to us. Where does Atiku have his stronghold? Looking at the 6 geopolitical zones, which of them will be very easy for him to capture, and which of them do you think will be difficult for him to capture?
At least even now, the starting point is that we've got 3 zones in our kitty, namely the South-South, the South-East, and the North-Central. Atiku will take 50 to 50% of the votes of the Northwest, and Atiku will take 50 to 55% of the votes of the Northeast. And of course, you know, the Southwest will always divide themselves 50-50, or at a bad time, one of the candidates will get 49, the other one will get 51. So the Southwest will cancel itself. So Atiku is in power. We are already celebrating, even though we are working harder than the APC, because we know they don't want to conduct the election. They want to write the results and announce and deploy the military and the police to calm down or to maim people who have come to protest.
All right, Alhaji, what confidence do you have that he can actually win the Northwest, which actually has the highest number of registered voters, and even the Northeast, where he comes from? A lot of people are saying that he might not even be able to win in the geopolitical zone he comes from, talking about the Northeast. And we hear, all right, it's been gathered that the Southwest is a battleground and not simply leading towards the PDP, like you are saying.
You see, already out of you 3 or 4 people that are questioning me, I know 3 of you have secretly told me that you are going to vote for Atiku. So even from your own figure of those that are interviewing me, I know that I have an upper hand. That gives me the confidence that we will win election. Nobody wants to hear about this government. Nobody. Even where you are in Lagos, you know for sure. Go to the market and find out. They know. This is why they refuse to sign the Electoral Act. This is why they are bringing Amina Zakari to be announcing the fake results they are likely to generate. And this is why they are shortchanging people. This is why they are arresting people like Dino Malaye and others, which they will incarcerate because they are desperate. They want to remain in power and cover their track.
Aladi, let's just correct that impression. We do not know who we are voting for, and even if we did, we would not be telling you on national television. But let's ask about the campaigns. There's so much news about the campaign being cash-strapped, and what exactly is the direction of the campaign? We seem not to be hearing so much recently. Is the campaign cash-strapped?
But Adesua, is that Adesua?
Yes, this is Adesua.
I just want to tell you something. So you mean that we will put our strategy to you on the table? I want to tell you something about myself. I am an expert on party volunteerism. That is why we built the Buhari machine from 2002 to 2015, where we were securing for him 12.5 million votes without spending a penny. And we are deploying that experience and intelligence into the Atiku campaign. Let me tell you that not even the Central Bank of Nigeria or the security printing press can print enough money to satisfy all the 200 million Nigerians and buy them to vote for an individual. What we want to do is to sell message, to sell hope, and tell Nigerians that we are going to do better, that they can hold us to our own words because we are people of integrity. In the other party, the APC, none of them has ever lived by his words. What they say in the morning is different from what they are going to do or say in the evening. The people have trust in us. They have confidence in us. That is why wherever we are, they will migrate and follow us. And let me tell you openly that the 12.5 million votes that Buhari was gathering from 2003, 7, and 11, I will personally take 75% because those people are regretting their support for the general, whom they thought would bring an El Dorado to Nigeria when he becomes president. It is now a lost hope. It is very disappointing, and I assure you that none of the people will vote for him. Just take example. General Buhari used a lot of aircrafts, a lot of money in 2015 to generate how many additional votes? 2.5 million votes only to become the president of Nigeria. And of that 2.5 million votes, there were PDP people who were disenchanted, who believed that Jonathan was not doing enough, and they voted for Buhari. And there were a lot of fence-sitters that because of what PDP was doing, they thought they can have a good this thing in Buhari, they voted for him. All of these guys are now disappointed. When they come back to the PDP, it means the APC is going to oblivion. Can't you see the chairman? Whenever there is a national campaign, the man will be jumping on the podium as if somebody who has taken tramol or somebody who has taken kai or somebody who has taken cocaine. These are the kind of leaders. Just put the PDP people in a straight line and look at their faces. All of them were, APC people, all of them were former PDP people who were governors for 8 years, who were ministers for 8 years, who were this for 8 years. Those are the people who ruined Nigeria. And we should know and tell them to their face by rejecting them. And even if there is nothing, Adesua, let me tell you that what Nigerians need to do is to vote out the government of General Muhammadu Buhari so that we might have now retrieved our people's power and now enthroned onto ourselves the power to appoint government and to remove government so that whoever comes, whether Atiku or whosoever that comes, he will now sit up and listen to us and do what we say we want him to do, because he knows that if he doesn't do that, we will have the power again to remove him. Even if it is for that reason, this government must go, and we will investigate them to show the world that they are not the saints that they claim they are.
Ahmadu Galadima, you've just described quite vividly the interchangeability of the main actors in APC and PDP. Even your attire today with your RAPC logo seems to be a tacit agreement with the view amongst many in the nation that neither APC nor PDP have the capacity, wherewithal, or integrity to lead Nigeria come 2019. What is your view?
So you mean that I have no integrity? And I speak like this, and I walk on the streets of Nigeria. That is your answer.
No, sir, that's not what I said. What is your view on the third force? A lot of people expect that a third force...
You said neither APC nor PDP.
Yes, have the capacity wherewithal or integrity.
I have an agreement.
But you are in an RAPC shirt.
With the PDP.
You are wearing RAPC, so you are neither nor yourself. Neither you cannot commit to either APC or
but
PDP.
I have an alliance with the PDP. I say I have an alliance with the remnants of the clean people in PDP.
Is it an alliance based on the merits?
If you accuse PDP, you are indirectly accusing me.
Not necessarily.
Of lack of judgment.
Not necessarily. Is your alliance based on the merits of said alliance, or is it a question of a rock and a hard place?
What do you mean? This is it's a stone rock alliance that we intend to use it to deliver Nigeria.
So what do you think of that idea of the general impression that neither APC nor PDP is equipped to rule Nigeria and lead Nigeria, given their antecedents?
Okay, let me tell you something. All that I want is that we must use our power to remove the government we have installed. And whoever comes in must listen to Nigerians, must walk the walk of Nigerians. But anybody that votes for any candidate other than PDP's candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, he is indirectly promoting and assisting the government of APC to come back and destroy Nigeria.
Can you clarify that point, Alhaji? That by voting for any other party,
yes,
you're indirectly supporting the APC?
Yes, because it is a minus for the opposition. We should all come together and make sure that we remove this incompetent, directionless government who cannot put on the table one single achievement. They have not raised one issue of any achievement they have made in the last 3.5 years. They are incompetent. They are directionless. They cannot take Nigeria to the El Dorado. Therefore, we have to all come together and remove them. So if you say no, that you are taking your people, even if only you and your wife, it is a minus for the PDP and for the opposition. And you are now strengthening the APC. Because every other candidate, apart from the APC, is opposed directly to the manner our country is being run. And he wants to do it his own way. So let all of us come together, have an aggregate agenda for Nigeria so that we remove these incompetent people.
All right, several Nigerians, especially the farmers, will not agree with you that this particular government has not done enough, because they actually say that there has been an upsurge in farming in Nigeria, that Nigeria right now does not import rice rather anymore. And also you look at the rail lines, some of them will still say that that has been a massive plus for this government. And the government has assured that at least rails, not massively, not extensively, but at least rails crisscross Nigeria from one point to the other. So if you say that the APC has not done anything, are you just looking away from, or is this just a personal vendetta by you, or are you just not looking at the facts on the table?
Which roads? Mention two.
All right, they said that, of course, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is beginning to see a massive resurgence. Of course, through the Sukuk funds, we are beginning to see several roads also in the south actually being rehabilitated.
I agree, because I know you are going to mention Lagos-Ibadan, 100 kilometers.
Yes.
So that is all the government of General Buhari would do in 3.5 years.
You just asked me to mention too.
Yes, 100 kilometer road. That's a big achievement. I congratulate you and them.
Alhaji, you have said repeatedly in the course of this show that should your candidates win, you will investigate this government. I guess you're speaking about corruption. Would that be a priority for your candidate's administration? Because we saw during the vice president's debate how that, dominated discussions to say you do not just fight corruption and endanger the economy. But it seems like that is a priority for your candidates from what you have said this morning, to investigate this administration.
Thank you very much. What I said is that we will institutionalize probe and ask institutions of government that have something to do with that to go ahead and do their job without interference from Mr. President, without interference from the government. We are strengthening institutions of government. That is what we intend to do. We cannot close our shop and start chasing the criminal as they are doing. No, that is not what we intend to do. You better. Now, the whole thing that they are doing is that every time the president travels out of the country and he comes back, he will tell you, I will jail looters, I will jail thieves, I will jail criminals. And even when he went to Uyo during his flag of his presidential campaign, he was talking to people and everybody around him was a thief, a rogue that have stolen public money. And he's telling us he will jail looters. I want to say, who did he jail since he became president? Let him tell me one person that he has investigated, taken to court, and jailed. And let me also add that the president has no power to jail anybody. He can only investigate, accuse, and take to court. That is the responsibility of the judiciary. And the man should be taught the rudimentaries of presidential system. We have the judiciary, we have the legislature, we have the executive. He cannot encroach into any of the field. And of all the three arms of government, the executive is the weakest. While the two, the legislature and the judiciary, have supervisory roles on the executive doesn't have such powers on either the judiciary or on the legislature.
You keep referring to the personalities of the people around the president. This remains allegations. You keep referring to them as thieves, rogues. These people have not been tried. They're just mere allegations, don't you think?
That is why we said when we institutionalize probe, we will now see whether they are saints. And let me tell you that the Oyibo man has said, when you want to tell me who you are, show me your friends.
All right, you've actually been very critical of this government today, and you've actually spoken about several key people. But how would you rate the anti-corruption war? So looking at it closely, how would you rate? Because they will say that they have actually fought corruption to a large extent, as has been said by their campaign, and they have actually lived up to it by actually catching some people, even people in their own government, the likes of Babachir Lawal, when you look at it, and several other key people, the DG of the NIA, that are part of this particular government. They've also actually found them guilty and have actually taken them to, they're actually right now in trial.
I think you are encouraging me to criticize the government more by probing me to talk about some of these forgotten issues. Is it fighting of corruption that the Babachir you are talking about is now the #1 or the #2 chief advisor to Mr. President, that is a member of his campaign council, that is promoted, is the chief campaigner for him in the Northeast? Or are you talking of, okay, what happened to the money? So is that how to fight corruption? Where is the money that was found in Ikoyi flats? Who is holding the money? The president should tell us. He's our servant. I'm not critical of government. I am a friend of the government because I tell the president which nobody around him can tell him. Therefore, I am assisting him. I am assisting him. And the whole nation, or whoever listens to this debate, should know that I'm actually the #1 friend of Mr. President. Because it is only your friend that will look at you straight into your face and tell you the truth. Nobody tells him that. They go there to worship him because they are looking for position. Maybe they are looking for contract. I am not. So I'm in a position to speak my mind.
Alhaji Galadima, you describe yourself as a friend to the president, but would he agree, given that you are not looking him in the eye and telling him this, you are telling him this through national media? As somebody who has been a stalwart of the president's, an ally, he's even been your boss at the time, and a close friend, how do you assess the remnants of your relationship, if at all the remnant still exists? Is there a hope for you to rebuild your friendship? And are you in touch at the moment?
No, I'm not in touch, and I send him messages through you because I can't get to him. Because those that are around him wouldn't want to see forthright, honest, and trustworthy people like me. They wouldn't, and I'm not the only person. Why is Dr. Bashir Kurfi? Why is Hajia Basirat Noibi? Where is Senator Mama Abubakar Damusa? Where is Dr. Armayau? Where is Saminda Isaiah? Where is our Director General, Suleya Hayahama? Where are they? I'm not the only person. We have all been thrown aboard because those who wanted to take over president gave him a condition that he has to get rid of us before they support him. And he elected to do that. So when I see people jumping and say Buhari, they are supporting Mr. President, they are not using the man in front to measure the depth of the river or the water. If the president can do this to us, it means he can do it to them. So they are wasting their time. But I have an impeccable relationship with Mr. President. I have all the respect and honor for him. This is why I am becoming bold, and I know the consequences of what I'm doing to tell him exactly what he may not hear from those that are around him. To be forewarned is to be forearmed.
And that's a perfect note to draw the curtain on this interview. Many thanks, Alhaji Buba Galadima, spokesperson for the Atiku Abubakar campaign, for sharing this time with us.